the dash. She's been running a more limited schedule than she was a few years ago, but her success seems to be pretty good. I mean, she made the feature through the dash. Just a real good night for her. Ryan Broughton actually flipped in Heat 1. It was the first of several red flags they had throughout the night, which was kind of an interesting thing that I noticed. Heat 2 was all Buddy Kofoid, and Heat 3 went to Parker Price Miller. Brandon Spithaller was the second number 22 to take a ride. He flipped in Heat 3, and in Heat 4, we saw Brock Zierfoss win with Caleb Helms taking quite the ride. He actually ramped the banking and flew nose first right into the fence. So kind of a rough start to his night. The dashes were won by Tim Schaefer in the first one and Buddy Kofoid in the second one. The B main saw Joey Selzy. The B main saw Gio Selzy win. Greg Wilson, DJ Foos, and Gerard McIntyre took the final transfer spots. The feature started off a little bit rough with Caleb Griffith getting off in turn 3 and 4 before they got a complete lap in. He didn't have a lot of damage, and he actually was able to make the call. After a few laps, we saw Aaron Reitzel get to the lead. And, of course, when Aaron Reitzel takes the lead, with his speed, he's usually going to be hard to beat. Brock Zierfoss started third, but he had moved back, I think, around the fifth spot. And then he started kind of coming up through the field, and he was looking really quick. He got up to Rutzel, and they battled for a few laps. First off, Brock got around him, and then Aaron passed him back. And then they battled for a few laps. Zierfoss legitimately passed Reitzel, which is a task in its own. And then, unfortunately, Reitzel broke. After that, Brock Zierfoss kind of had the field covered. It must have been amazing for Zierfoss to drive that car on Saturday because they hit this setup absolutely amazing. From the time he passed Reitzel, before and after, he was just hooked up. He took off. There was some good racing throughout the field. Schaefer and Kofoid were going at it for quite a bit. Dale Blaney was kind of moving through the field as well, like he normally does. Schaefer ended up second. Kofoid ended up third. Blaney fourth. And that ended up being big with Reitzel taking the DNF on the night. Reitzel has been fast and won a lot of races this year, but the DNFs have hurt him. And it seems like every single week we have a new leader in the All-Star points. It's back to Blaney. We'll have to see what happens after that. It's just going to be a fun battle to continue to watch. I don't remember in the last few years so much back and forth. I know we've had some close point battles with the All-Stars, but as far as flip-flopping back and forth, like I said, it seems like weekly. It's just been pretty fun to watch. The Attica Fremont regulars did pretty well on Saturday. We had Kofoid finishing third. Craig Mintz and Cap Henry both with top 10s, finishing 7th and 8th respectively. Caleb Griffith actually battled back to get 12th after that first yellow flag, so that was a nice little run for him. It was also my first chance to watch the 305s in action. I've seen a few of them come up to Michigan and run some of our series and tracks, but I've never seen a full field of them before. My first impression are they're just a fun little series or division to watch. No real big difference in top speed, it seems like. So it kept them all kind of close throughout the field. There was a lot of passing, a lot of guys using the entire track. Just guys that you can see potentially moving up to the 410s and really doing some damage. So the 305s, the feature did drag on a little bit. I think it took about 45 minutes or so with some yellow flags. So, but again, nothing major that I was disappointed with there. Just a good support class and a good feeder class to see some people getting into sprints and hopefully moving up. All in all, it was just an absolutely great night at Attica Raceway. It took me a while to get there. It will not take me a while to get back. It was top notch, from the people to the atmosphere, the racing, the facilities. You couldn't ask for a better night. One thing, the people were just absolutely amazing. From the time we walked in there, everyone was nice. Us Michiganders, we have a little bit of a bad blood with Ohio people, but racing kind of negates that, in my opinion. We all share the same love, and the people are just amazing. As for me, I'll be heading to Butler this Saturday. They are going to do the John Reeve Memorial Race. John unfortunately passed away in the pits a few years back, and his son Kevin, who's a pretty respected late model driver around the area, has put on this race now for the second year. They do some increased pay throughout the divisions. They also do a dash for cash, which sets the feature. They also have some lap sponsors and things, and a couple other donations. So last year I went to this race. Kevin just does a great job promoting it and making sure everything runs smoothly. They had a big crowd. They had a lot of cars in the pits, and I would expect the same this week, with a lot of Ohio sitting dark on Saturday. If anyone wants to make the trip up to Butler, I'll be there. Shoot me a message on Twitter. I love meeting new people. It should be a pretty good night. I know Butler doesn't have the best reputation, but it seems to be getting better a little bit each week, and I would enjoy meeting anyone if you want to come up. If you're heading somewhere else for the races this weekend, enjoy. The season is winding down. We don't have many opportunities to get back out there. As for me, I will talk to everyone later. I thank you, Clint and Jacob, for having me on, and we will see you guys at the races.
Thanks, Derrick, for chiming in on your first experience here at Attica Raceway Park, one of our most notable tracks in Ohio, and always a great night of racing there. And we're glad that you were pleased with the experience with your drive all the way over from Michigan. So thanks to those who took part in the episode this week. Jacob on the phone with Travis Philo, and Derrick Bean with his recap. As we mentioned earlier, lots of races still to be seen in Ohio, even though the season is beginning to come to a close. But we aren't going to go anywhere. Make sure you stick with us throughout the season. We're going to be pushing out episodes, even though we are approaching October here. We will continue to bring you interviews with drivers and as much as content as we can. So stay posted on that. If you are headed over to Eldora this weekend, make sure that you have a blast first and foremost, and have fun out there in the campground. The World 100 is one of the biggest events in Ohio, and we appreciate everybody who comes to Ohio to experience that event from all over the country. A couple of drivers to watch this weekend. I believe Chris Madden's going to be back in the car with Team Zero this weekend for the World 100. We had him on the show earlier. Bloomquist will be there. I was just looking. I think Bloomquist won his first World 100 in 1988. That's a 30-year span. So if Bloomquist were to win the World 100 this weekend, that would be a 30-year span from when he won his first World 100, which would be an incredible feat. Personally, I believe the drivers to watch this weekend are going to be Chase Juggins, who made a strong run here in Mansfield at the Dirt Million. I believe he's on a tear, and he's going to be somebody to watch there for the World 100. But I think when it's all said and done, I think your winner is going to be my pick for the World 100 is Jonathan Davenport. Expect that Fast 49 to get to the front, and maybe I'm wrong, but expect the Georgia boy to take the win at the World 100. That's my pick for it, and we'll see what happens. So we appreciate you tuning in to the Ohio Dirt Track Podcast. We're 20 episodes strong now, and thank you to all of our listeners from all over the country and the listeners that we've had in Australia. Thanks for tuning in, and we recently had some tune in from Canada. Let us know if you want a hat. As always, appreciate Robin here at St. Pete District Studios for supporting us and giving us such great sound quality and putting together a great product for us here on the Ohio Dirt Track Podcast. So until next time, get out, get dirty, and support your local tracks.